Guys, this is Gunner again, and I have a new fanfic, two fanfics actually. I'm gonna. These are actually gonna be these are one shot. These both are one shot fics. So I get so I'm gonna try to read both of them in the same video before I could start on my next story. All right, the first story, which is I'm actually going by shortest to longest, and my first story has is over 2,552 words. So, all right, my first story is called Memories by Ponies. It is a yeah, it's a sad fic that will involve Princess Celestia and Princess Luna. And here's the description right here. What can be remembered by a soul that has been lost in the darkness of time through the power of love? Featured on Equestria Daily. anyways, this is Memories. The first chapter, the first and only chapter is called Remember. Oh yeah, I also forgot that it also has an OC character, but I'm not sure. So, history. One of the most fragile and treasured things in any pony society. It was always written by the victors, and the ones who lose the battle are often erased from time to keep their acts hidden away. I was once a victor, once, but being a victor doesn't reserve reserve your place in history. It just gives you the ability to write the books. The ones who die for victory, the brave ponies that were the fighting force of war or event. They were the ones who were erased. Their souls are restless through time, wishing that what they did was appreciated, hoping some pony would come along and remember them and their sacrifices. I am one of those ponies. You may not know who I am, but regardless, I know who you are. I have seen you, as well as many other ponies over the centuries, walk this land and pass from it. I am nothing but stone. At least that's what every pony else sees me as. I watch as your warm, life-filled bodies walk the earth mortally, wishing that I could be just like you, wishing to be loved, to be mortal once again. To be mortal would give me the life I had always wanted, and the ability to die. The cold is a constant reminder of my stony imprisonment, biting at my outer shell, freezing my soul trapped inside. I have lived for what seemed like centuries, maybe even 1,000 years, but time is not something I have ever been fond of. It has always seemed to slow down when I pay attention to it, and when I wanted a moment to last forever, it was gone in an instant, leaving the moment burned in my mind, but the feeling gone forever. Sometimes, well, it's more like all the time. I just sit here and watch all of you as you walk along happily, without a care in the world. Some carrying books and others walking along with some pony they love. Sometimes you, Sometimes some of you even take the chance to stop and stare at me, watching me intently as if I was going to move. Even some questioned, Even some questioned why I was here, and that was something I wished I knew for myself. Why I'm why I'm here, the everlasting question of time. Why are why are we all here in this world? Every pony have had to have some significant purpose in the world, even if it was just standing still for centuries, as as I do. It's not those who decide to bother me. However, it's those who wish that they could have what I have. Those ponies who want to have immortality in the soul don't know of how hard it is to watch those around them and watch them wither away and die. They don't know how old your soul becomes, how much your soul will want to wither and die, and every pony else does. You want you want your loved ones to be you are trapped inside immortality, but reason says otherwise. Those that you have loved, those that you will love, will all fade in the space of time, eventually wiped from your mind. I faintly remember loving some pony once. I remember the feeling, the joy in my mind, and the warmth that spread throughout my body. I remember her, but who she was, I do not recall. I know that they will I know that they will always be in my heart, and I know that they passed many years ago. While I've been trapped here, I think they loved me back, at least. I hope they did. I hope they did that. I hope that they did. Daddy! A faint Philly's voice rang through my mind. Daddy, come here. I was a father. I had left some child to fend itself in this world, taking away something that it may have held dear. If it did hold me dear, that is, I have no recollection of having a child, or even knowing the voice that called out to me. But it touched my heart and the warmth caused through my body like a forest fire. I could feel myself starting to wallow in my own sadness, something that should not happen to any pony. Throughout my many years, I have seen many bright young souls lose track of their lives just because they felt sorry for themselves and fell deeper into their own depression. That not be something that I let happen to me. I just couldn't, no matter how much I wanted to feel sorry for myself. It is a sign of weakness, and the great, my name. What is my name? I hadn't taken much thought into my name in the past 100 years or so, and I had actually forgotten who I was. Was I some pony who destroyed the land, or was that why I was stuck in stone? I don't think that any pony in history, or as long as I could remember, was put onto the form of a statue willingly to serve as his or her own tribute. That idea is just a harrowing thought. I had to have done something in my past that had caused me to become this statue, and most ponies never even give me a look. Does that mean that I'm bad? I never wanted to be bad, or at least that was the way I feel now. Only if I could tell some pony, any pony, that I was not who I used to be, whoever that was. The sun was striking my flank. I could feel the warmth being contracted there, and the sun would soon drop over the horizon. The moon soon to rise from the other end of the sky as well. The moon and the sun. Why do they seem familiar to me? Of course they would. I see them every day and every night. But I felt a deeper connection with it for some odd reason. It was almost as if it were me who raised the sun and moon each and every day. I decided that I would let my mind adjust. That was what consisted of my normal days, so to speak. And it was never usually filled with anything more than a blank thought, just pure black. My mind has gone vastly darker since I last remember, whatever that was. I had no memories anymore, and anything that I've ever tried to remember always become lost in the sands of time. Daddy! The young filly called out once again. No, Daddy! Come see me first! Another young filly had called out, but this time it was different. The voice that I was hearing weren't faded chunks of my dissipated memories. It had almost seemed real, and the voices seemed to be coming from behind me. I tried turning my head, and to my amazement, I was actually moving. My muscles were real. The grass and the air were actually real. The sky was a beautiful ocean blue. Some patches of clouds were slowly being cleared by the tiny points on the horizon, and I could have sworn that it was other ponies. But it wasn't very likely that any pony would have wings. That's when it hit me. I was back in my old castle courtyard. Flowers of all colors and kinds were in bloom. The sweet scent of their buds flowing with the gentle cooling wind that passed through my mane and wings. I have wings? When did I get wings? That's impossible. I don't ever remember being able to fly. I calmed myself as I realized that I was overreacting to the stream, memory, or whatever it is. This this had to be something from my past. That had to be the only explanation. I shook my head once to clear my mind and get back to the situation at hand. I saw a multicolored mane out of the corner of my eye, which seemed to have a slight sparkle to it. I turned my head yet again to see two fillies wrestling in the grass. One had the most beautiful white coat. It was as if she was covered in a cloud. The other had a dark coat. It could be easily lost in the black of the night. I just wanted to run over and grab the two and hold them forever. That way I wouldn't have to lose them again. There was something strange about these two, and I just couldn't place my hoof on it. I knew that they were sisters, but it wasn't that. There was something else. They had wings and horns. They were alicorns. My little fillies were my alicorns. I felt my heart sink again as all that I could could come to if I could come to call them as fillies. I didn't even I didn't even know my own daughter's names. What kind of father am I that I can't even remember my own daughter's names? Another realization from staring at the young fillies was that they were wrestling to show me who was stronger, and it was as if that they were an infinite stalemate. The young fillies were alicorns, so that meant I was an alicorn too, right? And that meant that my wife was one too. That was the only possibility from what I remember for there to be any pony like them. I slowly raised my hoof to touch where my horn should be, and sure enough, there was one resting right where it should be. I heard a faint clopping of hooves on stone behind me and the voice of an angel echo. Honey, is your horn bothering you again? I turned around to view who this lovely voice belonged to, and that I saw was white, pure white, snow. I tried to move, hoping that I could join that dream once again. I had it had almost been as if it had been shared with some pony else. I felt like there were two other souls living that memory with me, enjoying enjoying what had once been. I didn't know how long I'd slept, but living in stone makes any amount of time seem minuscule in comparison to how long you seem to be awake. All I know is that moment is that it had snowed, and I was knee deep in it. I was standing in a rather awkward position for a statue. I was somewhat knelt down, as if I was waiting for something to hit me, as if something was coming for me, and my horn was the only defense I had left. My horn. I couldn't reach up to feel if it was there or not, but I knew it was gone. It had been snapped clean off from the base, and I knew that meant I was nothing more than a Pegasus in my current state. A memory came back to me, causing me to somewhat remember that if a horn was snapped off of any magical creature, then it loses its magic forever. It didn't make sense. Why would it be pointing at my horn at some creature? It was It was then that I felt the sort of scraping, but it was a gentle scrape. It was as if some pony were actually taking the time to gently brush the snow off me. Some pony had ever been generous enough to do that for me before. I don't. I've always been forced to wait out the winter and let the snow melt away as it pleased. The last thing that this pony or whoever the clearing the snow from me did was clear the snow from my eyes. There were ponies everywhere, sitting calmly and quietly as if they were waiting for some pony to speak. They were staring at me, it seemed, but I knew better than that and believed there would be some pony behind me. I tried to scream for help, but no sound came out of my mouth. There was nothing I could do but watch. I felt two figures brush up against my flank and slowly proceeded to come to my side just out of my line of sight. One of them began to speak in a rather loud tone that seemed to echo a royal speaking voice. How I remember that I don't know. Citizens of Canterlot and Equestria, the voice began, and it reminded me of the small night colored filly from my memory. The voice seemed to match it, just amplified 100 times. Wait. Luna, the other voice called. I think that I should talk for this ceremony, if you wouldn't mind, sister. I couldn't see a thing on either side of me. Only the large crowd of ponies assembled in front of me were visible. Once she started again, it was evident that the other pony had approved of what she had said. This day we've come here to celebrate the 1000th anniversary of the pony who had saved me and my sister's life as young fillies. The pony who was courageous enough to take on a hydra himself, to protect two small fillies, putting his own well-being on the line. The voice paused, her voice hinting at sadness. He sacrificed his magic, something that every one of us hold dear, to save us. He used his horn after vigorously fighting to put the creature to an end, but he was also putting an end to himself. His horn snapped from his head, and the vast amount of magic flowing from his body turned him instantly into stone. Today we remember him. The two figures rested their heads on mine, their manes barely visible out of the corner of my eyes. One the color of the night and the other as white as the clouds themselves. The ponies in the audience all raised their hooves and stomped to the bravery that I had once enacted. Something that I'll most likely never remember. The two ponies at my sides, which I assume were my daughters, rose. The ponies in front of me slowly moved from where they were as they stopped clopping and walked in front of me, each dropping a bouquet of flowers at my feet, some muttering thank you, and some even had tears dripping from their lively eyes. As soon as the crowd dissipated, the two alicorns appeared in front of me, tears flowing from their eyes. They stood directly in my line of sight, making sure I knew of their presence there before the white one spoke. You may not remember us, but we remember you, and that is what matters right now. We know that you are struggling to stay alive in there, but bear with us. We have been trying to free you for the longest time, and we do thank you for what you did to save us back then. The two alicorns reached forward, their front legs extending around my neck, holding me in a firm grip. They started to cry a vast amount, and could feel their tears running down my stone back, as they both spoke in unison. I love you, Daddy. A tear formed in the corner of my eye, rolling off my face and falling to the snow below. Oh, that was pretty sad, actually. mean, yeah, usually I'm kind of speechless when it comes to sad fix. So. Alright. I also have a, I also have another, and also my next story, both of what, both of which have been recommended by Lookman3731. All right, the next the next story, the next story is called One Last Letter by Zuka Cervantes. And also, and I also kind of had the feeling that the story was that the story was also made by one called Rainbow Sparkle. But I'm not sure. I might have to look both of those up. So. All right, this is One Last Letter. Twilight Sparkle, my dearest acolyte. I hope this long letter finds you in good health. You have expressed curiosity your whole life for the ancient secrets. I know I know much of what caught up with my sister and I from times long past has left you with many unanswered questions. You have also, as of late, been concerned about your age and that now your and now your years approaching 3 digits leaves you little time left to learn. That is that is something that has never ceased to astonish me about you. Your thirst for knowledge in whatever form it may come. It is time now, in the time you have left, to understand why I kept the old knowledge from you. I have of course let slip certain details about the distant past. Your discovery of the book holding the tale of my sister's fall was no accident. I am no goddess, as you know. There were times when I thought no hope remained. When I had to remind you of the beautiful letters you wrote me to inspire in your heart the strength to rally your friends, the embodiments of the elements of harmony and defeat discord. Or when Luna and I become trapped by the Dark One, or the long-standing peace you settled with the Griffins, which lasts to this day. But know that the Equestria you know and love today was brought to where it, where it is by nothing less than the blood, sweat, and tears of millions of ponies prior and of Luna and I. It has been asked by those who do not understand us that they do not understand why we called princesses. Pony historians called them the ancient ones, the ancient times. But Twilight, I can close my eyes and recall the horrors. In those days, the royal family of the Alicorn ponies all struggled to maintain civilization and order. We Alicorns have had mastery over the body, allowing us to keep eternally youthful. As such, once Everfree City was filled, we saw no need to continue reproducing. Then, Discord came. Forget what little you know about him, what little I dared tell. Discord was a monster. There was no point telling you how he came to be, for some magics are better off left unknown. We perished, all of us. Only my sister and myself remained, but our mother, the red-maned queen, whose name I dare not utter for fear of losing even more precious shreds of my heart, visits us so often in our dreams that we believe somewhere she lives. Yet without absolute proof, we cannot bear the heartache to call ourselves the queens of Equestria. So until we find her, flesh or bones, We are the princesses. Heartswarming occurred when Luna and I were chasing Discord to the darkest ends of the world, well beyond the boundaries of Equestria. We had freed the ponies of Earth, Horn, and Wing from Discord's influence and allowed them to live in peace for once. Of course, as the story of Heartswarming told, the three tribes were still reeling from his touch of madness and were disharmonious. It was asked of us why we trained gifted unicorns if we were training heirs apparent. Oh, we have heirs of a sort. The remaining bloodlines of the creations of the alicorns, earth ponies, pegasi, and unicorns. Your friend Rarity met the heir of the original unicorn bloodline, that sad boy, Blue Blood. He more or less changed his ways after I sent him a special letter and box of Joe's donuts. You remember, don't you? But I digress. I was talking about why some ponies believe we take students on their train as heirs. This would bring much joy and relief to the hearts of my sister and I. The sort you would not comprehend even with the golden heart you have, my once people. The problem is, even with your magical talent, no pony other than my sister and I could raise this sun and moon. No pony can rule properly without understanding the worrisome burden that absolute leadership carries. There would be corruption and downfall. This lesson we learned from the elder ones, those who walked on 2 feet. Everything they were became what we are today. We still see their hands. Yes, hands. Not hoof or claw or talon in everything, from teacup design to books. That is why I cannot afford to allow my emotions to get the better of me. Ever. My beloved little sister let slip her heart, and the cost was catastrophic. Everfree City was utterly annihilated. The old castle pulled apart by the land itself, and the lives of thousands of ponies were snuffed out overnight. But understand, Twilight, the creature that destroyed Everfree City and the old castle was killed so many was not my little sister. To be honest, Luna was the lucky one. She slumbered for the most part in her prison on the moon. But I, my student, had to endure 1,000 years singing to my sister's duties. Some called me a tyrant vying for my sister's throne. They know so little. What matters is that I managed to keep the balance in spite of the worrisome madness that threatened to consume my mind as it had Luna's. Now that my sweet, beautiful little sister is back, I could finally take the time to reflect on myself. Heavens help me, I feel so tired, so very tired. But I will not abandon Equestria. Too many have laid down their lives, and we sisters have spent too many centuries forging it into a place where comforts are plentiful, work is noble, smiles are plenty, and warmth is never far from any pony's heart. No, dear Twilight, there can be no heirs, but there are none yet who can do what we do. If we do, then we will give them the reins of my precious beloved Equestria and find some place quiet and solemn to live a simple, humble life. Or perhaps finally allow myself to pass as well. Then we might be reunited. But for such an even to come, I hold no breath. In all honesty, I don't believe there will be any pony who can rule with peace and love. No pony who can truly appreciate this land as much as we do. So I am committed to protecting and caring for this land for the rest of my eternal life. I sound weary, and believe me, my student, I am. But Twilight, you and your dear friends allow me to smile genuinely for the first time in the millennium since my sister lost her way with your parties. Your correspondence and learning to speak to me like a normal pony rather than a princess. but you will soon pass beyond where I can reach, and since your friends are all tied with you, they too will pass on the same evening. You are the you are six of the greatest heroes Equestria has ever known. I know what I know what you will say, that myself and Luna should be included as heroes. But my beloved Twilight, we are not heroes. We are but pillars on which a heavy burden lays. Wherever you go, Twilight, you and your friends will make it a better place. I'm a, I am I am sorry to see you leave, but in your brief, precious flicker of a life, you have warmed the ground at my hooves and brought a smile into a weary soul. I hope this letter finds you in good health, my acolyte. For for when the hour that is on both our minds finally arrives, I have more tears to shed than I think I can stop. You have shown this ancient, broken old mare that these endless days of vigilance are to have been worth it. Please do not think that I wish to send you off with more baggage than you arrived in this world with. I just needed to bare my soul to someone, and I knew that all ponies would be able to understand. Thank you, my dear, precious, golden-hearted Twilight, your mentor, your regent, and your eternal friend, Princess Celestia. Oh, I guess that actually kind of explains a lot of I guess why Celestia, Luna, and Cadence are like the last living alicorns. Actually, I guess in some sort of way, it kind of reminds me of the Green Mile, but yeah. Yes. Sorry, I can't be able to talk. I'm usually speechless when 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 there's sad fix involved. I mean, I mean, the only kind of sad fic that actually affected me really good was My Little Dashie. I cried I cried really so hard on that, and I've been and I felt depressed for like 3 days because of that story. Because a lot of it was like, I'm sorry. I mean, a lot of it like, oh, that story actually kind of like reminds me of me sometimes. You know, like around. I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, I'm very sorry. It's, it's just, yeah, this part is just very emotional. Yeah, just thoughts of like any of my family members going away. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, everyone. I mean, my little Dachi does kind of does kind of remind me of some things of my life, and yeah, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm just gonna stop right here. I don't feel enough to say anything more. So, yeah, this is better stuff for saying.